Accelerate your dealership success. This is the Car Guy Simple Podcast.
Hi, Joe Levine. Thank you so much for joining us. Car Guy Simple, the podcast for everyone in the automobile industry, whether it's wholesale, retail. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Our audience is growing. Every episode is growing, and which leads me to what we're doing now, right? What's this episode about? We're really happy about this. We're able to bring back one of our favorites. You really are. Tom Stuker, the phone call making, the phone call taking genius of the car business, the man that, but do I embarrass you when I do this?
I want to get off the phone thing and get into management.
So let's
today.
do that. Let's do that. We're, if you're interested in, the last episode that we did together, you talked about, your history, and you got into phone skills, and we role played, and we had some fun, and we had some direction and some tactics. Now let's shift gears, right? Let's talk about the four pillars, if you will, right? The four pillars that apply to any car dealership anywhere on the planet. And now, if it's okay with you, I'd like to drill that down even more to talking about the four pillars as they apply to the sales department, right? Exactly. Which are hiring, training, management, and accountability. These are your four pillars. These are the ones that this is the hill to scream about, right?
There's absolutely no way to fail if you cross the T's and dot the I's in these four pillars. Right?
So let's giddy up. Off we go. Let's go.
Well, let's do this. First of all, if you're watching this or listening to this, you better have something to write down, because I got stuff worth mentioning and writing down. So make sure you're taking notes. Otherwise you I can't say get me mad other ways. Or no, okay. So here, so let's start.
You can say whatever you want. Watch this. You want a good one? You want to watch a good one? Want to watch a good one? If you don't take notes, you can't do this anymore. And if you're listening, I'm holding up the U, because that's the most important letter in the alphabet. There it is. I snuck it.
So I hope if a dealer's watching this, I hope he makes the salespeople watch it too. I mean, sales managers. And if the sales managers are watching this, let's wipe the slate clean for a second.
Okay.
So Joe, I want to go back to when you ran your own dealership, right?
I did.
So let's suppose you
I own my own store. Yep.
And then forget way back when. Let's go. You're opening up a dealership today, Mr. Manager. It's your store. You're not even having a grand opening for another month or so. You're trying to put your sales team together first.
Right.
Right? Because that's the foundation.
Yeah.
Without a sales team, you're not selling cars, you're not servicing them, you're not doing parts, you're not, whatever, right? So we need a good sales department. So why don't you hire what you want? And why don't you quit settling?
Because no one answers my ads, and I have to get the same old refried beans.
Stop.
Okay.
We'll get into that.
Oh, okay.
Right? Okay.
All right.
So let's start off. You're from scratch. Whether you're hiring 8 people or 18, let's put a benchmark together. This is the sales staff I'm trying to build. So give me the makeup of one of those 8 or 18 salespeople. Tell me what that person is and does. So give me the makeup.
Well, and this goes back to when I owned my Chevy dealership.
Yeah.
I believe that every salesperson that delivery owes that salesperson enough referrals to deliver 3 more vehicles, not through dealership advertising. So we need somebody that is a good communicator, that is stable, that isn't afraid to ask questions. Proactive.
Yes.
Intelligent, articulate. I'm not talking about master's degree in college. I'm talking about intelligent to be able to do the street smart stuff, to be able to be intuitive, to represent our company in the way that we want it represented, not portrayed. Represented.
Okay, all right, fair enough. So the average salesperson in the business today still is 8 to 12 units a month.
Correct.
All right. Can I say BS? I can't say BS, whatever.
You can say BS.
All right, it's BS, right? So if I started a store today.
Right.
If you started a store today, how many units do you want as the minimum performance level for your salespeople? Now, I mean, you say, well, let's get realistic. No, realistic is what you want. If you do the right job of hiring, if you do the right job of training, if you do the right job of management, and you hold people accountable, you get what you want from your sales department. So we're going to start off with, what is it you want? How many units? I'll tell you what my number is. My number's 20. My number's 20. I want the minimum performance out of my salesperson to be 20. And the guy goes, good luck finding them. I'll help you find them. That's why you're watching this podcast, right? So 20 cars a month. Why do I want 20? Because real simple. Because when a customer walks in my lot and there's 2 salespeople by that front door, one sells 20 and one sells 8, right?
Right.
I got 2 different heads thinking about that customer, all right? The 20 car a month guy's looking at that customer or young lady, let's not get sexist about this, the salesperson, right, that's looking at it, that does 20, is looking at that up and says, here comes the first sale of my day, right? The 6, 7, 8 car a month salesperson looks at that customer and goes, hell, I'll never get to lunch now, right?
That's true.
I mean, these are facts.
Right.
These are facts, right? The first one has reasons to succeed, and the other one has excuses for failure. So guess what? I don't want those people. I want the 20s. And you can find them and you can get them, all right? Now, you can't settle. If I interview 40 and only find one, I'll do another 40 because I want the sales force. You want the sales force. Your sales team is a product of you as a manager.
I agree with that. But come up for air for a second, okay? Because you're getting red in the face, and I love you when you get red in the face. It's amazing because you're so passionate. That's it. No, don't say that. Just be passionate. It's called passion. That red stuff is passion. Do you want to hire the retreaded floater, the 8-car floater, or do you want to develop your own rookies from start to finish and grow them?
90% of the time, I'm not into jumpers or jumpers going from one store to another. There's usually a reason why they jump, right? It's because they can't manage the store themselves anymore as a salesperson.
Yeah, but if I hire a bunch of green peas, then they run around and they don't know what they're doing, and who's going to take the time to train them? And you watch the veins start to pop out of the side of their head.
Guess what? You were a green pea one time. I was a green pea right time. Grant Cardone was a green pea. Alan Rand was a green pea. The best salespeople out there were green peas at one time. Right. And guess what? Most of us landed in the hands of some decent managers, which helped us. So that's a real big part. 2 things we're looking for. First of all, what are you looking for in those salespeople? I'm looking for work ethic, someone that's going to work, someone that's going to come to work and not to wait. Because that's the problem with our industry. We don't hire people to sell cars. We hire people to wait for someone to buy one. Wait till I get into the management part. And then we're going to have some real controversy.
Well, what do you ask these people when they apply then?
Well, first of all, there's a couple good questions. First of all, let me get my ingredients out there.
Oh, okay.
I want work ethic.
Okay.
I want manageability.
Okay.
All right. I want someone that has a 20-car head instead of an 8-car head. I want someone that absolutely has to make $100,000. I know, it has to make $100,000, right? Because that's what they want. There's 2 kinds of salespeople out there. The majority of them are salespeople that are in the business to survive, Joe.
It's true.
And I want salespeople to get in the business to succeed because I can show them how to succeed, right? But I'm not into salespeople to survive. Right? If their nut is $3,000 a month and somehow they averaging 8 cars, 9 cars a month, wow, that covers their nut. I don't want people to survive the car business. I want someone to succeed. So, and I'm going to get in that in the hiring part of it, right? I want someone that will work social media. And I'm going to have a dealership where social media is a job responsibility, not an encouraged behavior. It's a job responsibility. You will be taught. You will be managed and you will be held accountable to use social media because it's 2025, right? I'm also going to get into, you gotta have good conversational skills. You're going to have to be competitive. I want 18 guys to all fight for Salesman of the Month. That's the staff I want, right? Well, good luck finding them. No, you're lucky. Just find a way to do it, and I'm going to show you, all right? What's next? Oh, I want people that are leadership. I want people that have the potential to be one of my managers someday. Should I get another store or something? Or should I replace a manager? And they have to be proactive. I want salespeople that like to be a salesperson. I want salespeople that when they go out and buy a pair of shoes, they're thinking, at the end of this conversation, before I leave the shoe store, I'm going to end up selling this guy a car. Or when they go to the drugstore, when I pick up my prescription, these people didn't take a bus to work. I'm going to find out what they drive, how many drivers in their household. I'm going to ask for referrals. I'm going to end up making them pay for my prescription. I'm going to make them pay for my dinner. I'm going to make them pay for my shoes. That's what salespeople do. I'm not saying walk around with a sandwich board and say, buy your next car for me, but think like a salesperson instead of sounding like one.
So how do you set that up? Is it part of how you write the ad, part of how you hold the interview, part of both? Do you like offering sign-on bonuses? Do you want to pay people while they're going through training? There's 8,000 different things to ask.
All this. First of all, it starts off with some really good ads, right? Right.
It does.
And in your ad, you got to tell them what you're doing. We train our salespeople to make 100,000. We have a very extensive training that concentrates on training salespeople to make $100,000 a year plus, right?
So that's a better line than earn from X to Y.
No. We train salespeople
right.
Nobody graduates our training without knowing how to make $100,000 in their first year.
That's gold.
Right?
That's gold.
You're right. Guaranteed. You don't guarantee 100,000. You guarantee the training, right? We guarantee that training, that nobody graduates our training without knowing exactly how to make $100,000 a year. Now, let me ask you about your training. Do you train your salespeople? What part of your training says, this is how you make $100,000 a year? Let's say 20 units a month is the number. Do you train in your sales training, when you train new people, do you train them how to sell 20 units a month? Because the only way you do it in your store is by being proactive. You're going to have to generate your own business. And you know that. You cannot be the average person on the floor and sell 20 units a month on your floor traffic, because if it was that good, you'd hire more salespeople. No. So do you have a training program that trains them how to sell 20 units a month? If you don't, I'll help you write one.
What's the basic components of a training program that works?
We'll get into that in the training part, right? But we're these things. Right. We're still in the hiring time. So in the hiring thing, you need a really good ad, right?
Yep.
You have to interview good, right? Like I said, I asked a couple different questions. Like, let's say the average person walks in and he's
I'm the guy. Role play.
So you're making $4,000 a month.
Correct.
In your current job, right?
Okay.
So I said, Joe, I really like you. I'd like you to bring you on board, but something's holding me back, right? And I'd like to talk to you about that. Joe, I want salespeople to make $100,000 or more a year here. Not aim for $100,000, but I want that to be the minimum of my salespeople. Joe, that's $6,000 more than you're making right now. $6,000. That's almost triple what you're making right now. Joe, if all of a sudden you were making $10,000 a month instead of $4,000 a month, what would you do next month? What would you do in month 1, 2, 3, 4? What would you do with that extra $6,000 a month?
Support the local economy.
Okay.
I'd go on a boat and a thing and a camper.
The average answer is, oh, that's a good question. No, Joe, it's a great question, because let me tell you, if you don't have a reason for making $10,000 a month here, I don't have a reason to hire you. I mean, because if you're here to make sure you got your $4,000 covered every month and you're surviving the business instead of succeeding at it, which is $100,000 a year, if you're going to survive the business, not interested.
Right.
I'm looking for people to succeed in the business, and our training will teach you how to succeed and make $100,000.
So those word tracks are a lot more valuable than sell me this pen.
Oh, that's all. Oh, excuse me. That's all baloney.
Right? You can say whatever you want. Josh, you'll just beep them, right?
No. Okay. No, I'm not saying that's a terrible way, but let's get real. What do you want to do? That, or do you want to hire somebody that doesn't know what to do with $100,000 if you train them how?
So you would take somebody off of a line striping truck in the middle of the interstate, if you met them and they were articulate, regardless of their education, background.
If they have a good work ethic and follow my direction.
And they can't sell you this pen ever in their lives, but there's all the other boxes tick, you'll hire that person.
That guy can't do a good job with that right now. He has to be taught how. And I'm going to teach him how in your training program, right? So Joe says, well, I'd probably do it to send my kid to college. Well, how old is your kid, Joe? He's 2 years old. Okay, Joe, just for the math's sake, that's 16 years of $6,000 a month. By the time he's 18, you could own the university. So let's get real about that.
That's
right?
true.
So when it comes to $6,000 a month, maybe it's short-term debt, maybe it's long-term debt, maybe it's a house that you want, maybe it's a boat you never had, maybe it's a vacation, maybe you want to redo the house.
Right.
But if you don't have a reason to make that extra $6,000, then I don't have a reason to hire you. Now, don't get me wrong. I like Joe and I'm going to hire him, but he's not going to come back for the second interview. Yes, you don't hire anybody in the first interview, but you're going to come back on the second interview and he's going to have a written goal, whether it's a picture of a home he wants to buy, a picture of a car or a boat, whether it's short-term debt or long-term debt. He's going to have a written goal of what he's going to do with $6,000. Or he's not. I'm going to tell him all about that and how to do it and what I need on the second interview. Or Joe, don't call me for the second interview.
So you don't look to put them together and spot them on the first interview. You want to bring them back.
Never, because I give them homework assignments. Guys, if you want to build a team that sells 20 plus a month, then you better make sure you're making the right mistakes, because if you have turnover, that's because you're hiring wrong, you're training wrong, you're managing wrong, or all 3 or 4 of these things. So let's get back to the interview. One of the questions I say, Joe, in all the jobs you had, who was your best manager and why? Joe, of all the managers you had, who is your worst manager and why? When he tells you who the best manager is and the worst manager is and why, one of those managers is going to describe me, the manager that's interviewing him. So if he says, well, I don't like this Tom guy because he was every day, what do you got going? How can I help you? And then he had training sessions every morning for half hour. Like, you're getting trained to death, So that's not my guy if he doesn't like that, because I'm constantly training and reinforcing.
Right.
I'm constantly doing one-on-ones with my guys throughout the day.
Right.
So that's not my guy. So if he doesn't like that management style, I don't care if he has all the goals in the world. It's not my guy. So I look for people that flourish under my management style. And one of those answers will tell you whether it's him or not, right?
Do you like to test applicants for
Yes,
mental aptitude, psychological profile, math skills?
Yes.
You like that?
It helps me. It helps me in my final decision. But my big decision is a question like that. What would you do with that extra $6,000 a month? Plus, I give them homework assignments. I give them my referral script, right? I said, here's the referral script. Here's my 3-day follow-up call, how to call a customer in 3 days. And then here's a call that you give to people, your friends and relatives, to introduce you to the car business. I make him memorize all 3 scripts, because if he goes home or she goes home and says, oh, I can never do this, then don't show up for my second interview.
So let's talk about that in case somebody's watching this episode and maybe wants to jump over after this one to watch the phone skills one that you were kind enough to come in and do. Those 2 phone scripts are very important in business, right?
But
they're not phone scripts. Let's talk about the referral builder.
The referral script.
Let's start there.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Hit me.
All right. Well, first of all, they have to memorize this whole script as I'm saying it.
Go ahead.
Hey, Joe, before I let you go, could I ask you for a small favor?
Sure.
Well, I get most of my business. I'm going to speed this up a little bit. I get most of my business from repeats and referrals from people just like yourself. Joe, who do you know? Maybe a friend, a relative, a neighbor, someone you work with? Wait a minute. One of these days might be thinking about some type of vehicle for themselves.
Okay.
Now, Joe, who's the first person that comes to your mind?
My Aunt Susan.
Okay. Now, why did you say your Aunt Susan? Has she been talking about it?
She has.
Make sure it's a prospect, not a suspect, right? All right.
Yeah.
She has. Yeah. All right. So, what has she talked about?
She keeps playing with the idea of, she's been driving the same vehicle since COVID. She bought it out of her lease, and she's just numb to the vehicle and thinks maybe it's time to get into something new or newer. Wow.
Her timing probably couldn't be any better right now. What is the best number to reach her at? 555-121-212. Now, by the way, I'm not done, because a lot of people go, thanks, and move on. I said, so Joe, who do you know besides your Aunt Mary?
My coworker, Steve.
My record is 19 referrals on one call. No, excuse me, 12.
Well, how do you keep them motivated to keep giving them? Do you
Yeah. Oh, I said, Joe, don't stop now. You're on a roll. People like being on a roll.
There it
believe
is.
not. Don't stop now. You're on a roll. How about, in fact, when I get 2, how about an even 3? Now, it's an odd number, but I just love when people repeat it and go, oh, an even 3. Okay. So cheap thrill. All right. But I got 12. And guess who I got 12 from? You're not going to believe this. Thoroughbred Chevrolet in Arizona, outside of Phoenix, one of my first in-houses 100 years ago, when you had to call out to an operator to get an outside line. That's why people wouldn't use the phone call, because every time to make an outside call, you had to get an operator to give you an outside line.
Murray Hill 3, 4,
Yes.
5, 6, 7, and make it snappy.
So whoever the switchboard operator gave me 12 referrals that morning. The switchboard operator gave me 12 referrals and apologized every time she put me on hold.
All right, so that's the referral.
Referral.
What's the other one that you want them to have?
I want them to memorize the referral script, word for word,
Yep,
for word.
got it. What's the
like
second?
I said, if they have a problem with it, I have a problem with it.
What's the other one?
The next one is a 3-day follow-up call, which you're calling back. Hey, I just want to thank you for your business. Are there any questions I can answer for you? By the way, your first service, boom, boom, boom. And then you prospect the household and ask for a referral at the end.
So they have to have a working knowledge as close to mastery as possible. Second interview.
Saves me time and training too.
Sure it does.
Yep.
How long do you wait between the first interview and the second interview?
Well, when you're ready, you call me and I'll set it up. When you're ready, call me. Now, I'm starting my class on the 17th, which is in about 8 days. So it's got to be between now and the first day.
Will you
of my
interview
training.
him on the phone, or will you just say,
No,
you want
I want face-to-face.
Face-to-face?
Because he can read the script to me on the phone. Now, you can't do it face-to-face, right? So he's got to be able to do it right to my face. And then, by the way, there's a script called Friends and Acquaintances, because he's got to find a way to introduce himself to all his friends and relatives with the script I have, which, again, soft sell, smart sell, everything's very customer
So
friendly.
they come in for the second interview.
Yep.
Okay.
We're
down to the 2-minute drill now. I feel like John Madden.
Okay,
See, what happened was we put it over here and we went and it did. No, Dean, you don't like that one? Dean doesn't like it. Dean just said, Joe, shut up, Joe.
He's got 3 scripts memorized. He's got his written goals, his goals in writing, right? As far as what he's going to do with that $6,000, right? I might even invite him, depends on how aggressive my dealer is, to make sure we got the right people and families involved, because I'm about hiring families, not just individuals. So if he brings his wife in, gosh, this is the best way to start a new salesperson, is to give a new salesperson his first sales contest. You give a salesperson a contest, right? Here, let me give you an example, right? Let's say you have 2 salespeople that you hired. In the first 4 months, one guy does 12, 12, 12. In this 4th month, he does 8. The other guy does 8, 8, 8, and then does 12. How do these guys wake up on the morning of the 5th month? The guy that goes 12, 12, 12, and does 8 says, what the hell happened last month? I got to get back to who I was.
That's right.
I'm a 12-car month guy.
That's right.
Right? I got to get back, right? The guy does 8, 8, 8, and does 12, forgives his success of 12, forgives it, says, well, that's not going to happen all the time, because he sees himself as an 8. So here's my first contest. I said, oh, by the way, Mary, or Dee, thanks for joining Joe on this interview. I want to tell you about your first sales contest, because when I asked Joe, what would he do with the extra $6,000? He said, well, the first thing is he's going to get carpeting done with the whole house.
Right.
And then redo the living room.
Yeah.
I said, well, Mary, here's the thing. I'm going to give Joe a sales contest for his first 3 months. All right. Now remember, I'm training him how to do 20. I'm training him how to do 20, right, in my training. And the training is going to be done by the end of June. So July 1st, right, Joe, what you need to do is sell 15 units a month, August, September, and October, right? You might adjust it depending on seasonal, depending on how business is in December, January, February, all that stuff. But even though I'm training, see, Joe, I'm going to train you how to do 20. All you have to do is 15, 3 months in a row. You could do 28, but you can't do 14. It's got to be 15 minimum, 3 months in a row.
Okay.
Right?
All right.
If you do that, we will give you $5,000 towards your remodeling. We won't give you $5,000. You just tell us who you're doing your remodeling,
Right.
and we will write a check to that company. Well, 1099. I mean, he knows that.
All right. So I'm going to tap the brakes for a second.
Joe, how important is it to get a person to start off with the first 3 months, 15, 15, 15.
It's critical.
Or you could do 18,
it's
18.
critical because for money you get honey, as the old expression goes.
Yeah.
So speaking of that,
Yeah.
we're going to go into a break and we're going to make sure that everybody has your contact information. Here it comes. Would you be willing? Anybody that sends in a question, how do I handle this? How do I handle that? I have this situation. What do you think? Would you answer them free of charge if we throw them all over the fence to you?
How about this, Joe?
Go.
How about this? How about anybody that contacts me? I'll do a 30-minute Zoom meeting for their management team.
Okay.
Or I'll do a free 30-minute Zoom meeting.
Wow.
Wait a minute. No, hold on. For the first 10.
Okay.
First 10.
For the first 10 a minute. The offer's on the table. So let's get to the break. You'll see Tom's contact information and you'll hear more about our contact information as well. So it's your turn. There's more coming after the break, but let's hit Tom up and let's see if we can move the needle a little more even than you even thought in your original plan, right? So that said, we're going to come back and talk about the other two pillars after the break.
We're going to polish off the hiring just for a second, and then we're going to get into the training part.
Good. So with that, we'll be back in a minute. Thank you for your time, and we'll see you soon.
Hi, Tom Stuker here, and I've been doing this for 45 years. Nobody knows phones like Stuker. If your salespeople aren't doing 20 units a month, they either don't want to or don't know how. If they don't know how, I'll show them. And for those already doing 20, I'll show you that it's easier to go from 20 to 40. If you want to dramatically improve your dealership success, now's your chance. Find my contact info at the bio of this episode. Call or email me today. If you're one of the first 10 callers, I'll give your dealership a free 30-minute Zoom sales training course. So call me. Let's get this party started.
Hi, Joe Levine. Welcome back. CGS Car Guy Simple, the podcast for everybody in automotive, whether it's retail, wholesale, or otherwise. We're here, of course, with Tom Stuker. And Tom, you want to pick up where we left off from the break?
Well, I think we kind of polished up the hiring process pretty good. If anybody has more questions, they can get hold of me. But
sure.
Let's talk about training. The average dealership, unfortunately, just trains people how to wait on customers. Hey, when a customer comes, this is what you say. Yeah. There's a lot of dealerships that still don't teach people how to effectively handle phone ups, how to effectively handle internet leads. And how many dealerships teach the salespeople how to master social media before they start on the floor? You know what? That number is in single digits, probably out of 100.
Do you request that they do it, or is that part of it?
No, it's a job responsibility. Welcome to 2025. Social media. I mean, you got to go big or go home. If you want to build a sales staff that does 20 units a month, then start training people how to sell 20 units a month.
I knew that was going to get them going.
Yeah,
so.
okay. I'm sorry. Did I pound the table again?
No pounding the table.
I got to watch that.
Dean said we're not allowed to pound the table anymore.
Okay. When I say train salespeople how to do 20 units a month, the average store maybe does 8 to 10 off floor and phone ups and internet. To do 20 units a month, you got to be prepared to have 50% of your business self-generated. 50% of your business minimum should be self-generated.
Define self-generated.
Self-generated means repeats, referral, or new business. Now, a repeat isn't someone that walks in the door and says, well, this will be my fourth car from you people. No. A repeat is, Joe, hi, time to get my second car from you. I mean, it's Joe bringing in
Big
somebody
difference.
asking for Joe.
Yeah. Big
it's
difference.
not somebody that bought 5 cars from here. That's a doggone good up, but it's not a repeat sale. Actually, a repeat sale could be if you're in my CRM, Joe, and I'm calling you and I prospect your household, which is a whole different teaching moment we have to do again. But if I prospect the household, even though you're the only one that bought a car from me, if I prospect your household and your wife D comes in, your daughter, your son, if anybody within that physical address comes in, that's technically in my repeat sales, right? With me?
Yes, I am. That makes total sense to me, actually.
Yeah. Because it's got to go in one of the categories.
Yep.
Now, referral is anybody that comes in asking for you. Mm-hmm. Yeah, my cousin Jimmy told me to come and see you. That's a referral, right? Now, new business is self-generated. It could be someone off the service drive that comes in and gets from you. It could be the person over at Walgreens when I'm just chatting somebody that's helped me out with this or that comes in, the waiter or waitress at a restaurant, and I got great techniques. We got to do a podcast to teach people how to sell anybody, anywhere, anytime. That'll be our next podcast. I want that one, right? So anyway.
Josh, write that one down.
How to sell anybody, anywhere, anytime, all right? Because that's a fun one. Because once a salesperson could learn to master that,
right? And
we should teach them in your training class how to sell anybody, anywhere, anytime, because it's so much fun. It's like so easy. It's the easiest way to sell 20 units a month. All right, but 50% has to be self-generated. You got repeats, referrals, new business. Over 50% of this. Now, listen to this. If you have 1,500 people in your CRM or more, to not do 20 units a month means you stink. Okay. I can't say
stink, stank, stunk.
Okay.
Pick one.
Okay.
You could do one of those.
You stink instead of, right? Okay. Yeah. All right. You stink at follow-up. You do not follow up your customers. All you do is send them a Christmas card with their name spelled wrong once a year, right? That's not follow-up. So if you really work your CRM, because 1,500 people own 3,000 vehicles.
Right.
And they're traded even if you're using a 5-year cycle with new and used combined, that's still 600 sales a year. That's 50 sales a month and that are going to buy, that are in your CRM. 50 that are going to buy in your CRM. Come on. And that's without any referrals. That's without any new business. That's without any walk-ins or phone-ups.
Sounds like it's by accident.
No, I mean, if you're working 1,500 people, do you know how many people out there that have a CRM with 2,000, 3,000, and they're still at 15 units? I mean, come on. Train your people how to work the CRM, how to take the CRM and turn it into a ATM. Now, I could train anybody that, because when you see how much money is right in front of how to use your CRM effectively. And to communicate with people, you got to know what to say. You got to know what to say besides, it's happy anniversary on your vehicle or whatever. No.
Give us an example.
Okay, well, here.
If that stinks, what doesn't stink?
You know what my favorite call is? The birthday call. When's your birthday, Joe?
May 16th.
May 16th. Oh, by the way, get this done today, Mr. Manager. Make sure your CRM programmed to tell the salesperson 3 days before the birthday. Make sure on the 13th, you say, Joe's birthday's on the 16th, because we're going to call him on the 13th, and here's how the call goes. Hey, Joe, did I get you at a bad time?
No, I'm good.
Joe, this is Tom down at ABC Chevrolet. Joe, the reason I'm calling is, if I'm not mistaken, isn't your birthday coming up this Friday?
It is.
Well, I was going to call you Friday, but this weekend we got like the biggest sale we've had all year. And I have a lot of my customers coming down to take advantage of it. And I figured if I waited till Friday, somehow, some way, with all this craziness, I'm going to forget your birthday. And I don't want to do that, man. So it might be a little early, but I just want to wish you a great birthday.
Appreciate that, Tom. Thanks.
Yeah. Now, do not ask for a referral on this call. Do not prospect on this call, because otherwise the birthday message is all kaputs. No. Did you prospect? Yeah, you did. Joe, I was going to call you Friday, but we got the biggest sale coming up this weekend. A lot of my customers coming down to take advantage of it. Oh, you couldn't do a better commercial if you tried, right? If he says, well, what's on sale? Well, what are you thinking about, Joe, new or used? And he goes, used. Bingo. New. Bingo. I'm not sure. Bingo, because they're on both sides of the street this time.
Well, he also didn't say no and click and get off the phone, which is what most people are afraid of, right?
No. You know what your overall objective of every outbound call is? Yes, you want to sell a car. You want to get someone prospected. You want to get someone in the door. But your number one objective, I told you on phone ups, your number one objective is to motivate a customer to come in today. Your number one objective in owner follow-up is to make sure at the end of that call, they feel really good about you and really good about your dealership. That's your number one goal.
Can I ask you a question?
Build customers for life.
I'm just going to take you off the rails for a second. A different type of owner follow-up call.
Okay.
I bring my car in for service. Mm-hmm. Now, I know you've been an advocate for years at time of delivery. Hey, don't call me when you need service, right?
Yep.
Okay. So if we go with that, and I leave and I have your card and I call you to set it up for service and I did what I was told, should you, after I take it home from the service department or it's delivered back to me in the service department, call?
You do a pre-service call. You do a post-service.
Give me both of those.
Well, pre-service call. Hey, Joe, I just got notified you're bringing your car in Thursday.
Yes.
Would I know what they're coming in for or not, Joe?
Sure, because I called you to make the appointment.
Oh, okay. All right. So you're coming in Thursday. Joe, when you come in Thursday, I want you to come in and get a hold of me. Joe, if you need a ride to work, I'll get it covered. I'll do it myself. Excuse me. If there's any coffee, hot chocolate, any tea, anything you'd like that I do not have already, I will have it for you when you get here, right? As far as electronics, we have great Wi-Fi here. I have an iPad for you to use, so you don't have to bring a laptop or anything. If you're going to be waiting for 45 minutes, yes, you could use your phone, but my iPad might be a little more beneficial to you, so I'll have that set up for you to use while you're here as well. I just want to make sure when you're in for service, most importantly, everything gets done and fixed to your satisfaction. But I want your stay to be enjoyable too.
Perfect. Now, in the interest of time, shift gears. I brought it, I took it home. You're going to call me?
Yes. Yep.
You don't call me and go, was everything okay with your service appointment? You don't do that.
No, I'll call the service manager first to make sure it was. Yeah. My mama didn't raise no fool.
No.
If you walked out of here pissed off, am I in a hurry to call you and say, hey, just tell me how pissed off you are, right? No. If a person came in, I'll say, how did you go with Joe's car? Everything good? Is Joe happy? Good. I'm just going to call to confirm you're happy, basically.
Okay,
that
works.
I said, I understand you're here. Was everything done to your satisfaction, right? So now, some dealerships will wash your car before and all that stuff.
Right.
So it all depends, right?
Right, but the key word there is management, right? Management has to support the initiative. So having said that, you agree with me that management is the key, right? For most things?
I'm just shaking my head because this is just so fundamentally smart.
I know. All right. So,
Joe, do you know there's people out there who go, I don't have time for all those calls.
Well,
you know what? Here, Joe, I make a pre-service call. I make a post-service call. I make Joe Levine and his family very happy knowing that Tom's the guy. So when I ask for referral, I get sent a person that takes less time to call. It takes less time to sell, makes more money, gives me better growth, better CSI. So don't tell me that 10-minute investment of 2 5-minute phone calls doesn't pay off over and over and over. If you want to sell 20 units a month, bingo, that's one of your things to do.
So in the next thing I want to touch on, right? And we only have 6 minutes, unfortunately. We'd have to bring you back again. Would you come back? Would you come back? Management. I'm going to talk about the fourth pillar, management. We have 6 minutes. Off you go. Giddy up.
Okay, well, first of all, let me give you the most controversial statement I'll make.
Go.
The biggest reason why salespeople don't have staffs that do 20 units a month is because of an open floor. An open floor is the most counterproductive. And yes, if you want your free sales management meeting to talk about an open floor pluses and minuses, I'm in. Your job is to give me, as an owner, convince me as the owner of your store how it benefits me as an owner to have an open floor. And I will convince the owner 10 things that are beneficial if he had some form of rotation. I'll tell you how to do the rotation and how it benefits the dealer, how it automatically improves your closing ratio, automatically improves your sales per person. I'll show you how a managed, it's called a managed floor, not just a rotating floor. An open floor means the salespeople decide who and when gets the next up. And a managed floor means you're managing the floor as a manager, not the salespeople.
Now I got to bring you all the way back. We were down to less than 5 minutes.
Gosh, okay.
Management. Right. Let's get into management because I'm sensing there's something coming up after this one. So let's go.
Every day you have to have one-on-ones with your salespeople. Not 15 minutes, but just one time where you sit down and say, Joe, give me 3 people we have a chance to do business with today. If you had 15 salespeople and you sat down with one at a time, only for a couple minutes, Joe, give me 3 people we have a chance to do business with today. And you do this every day. And he knows he's going to be held accountable to come up with 3 people. And if it's the same 3 people 4 days in a row, Joe and I are going to be talking for more than about 3 or 4 minutes, right? But that means if I have 15 people that all have 3 people we have a chance to do business with today, I got 45 opportunities to do business before we open the door today. That's how you get salespeople selling 20 units a month, by holding people accountable to come to work and be prepared to sell and succeed every single day.
Do you want your managers being able to, in the middle of that conversation, well, I got these 2 and this guy, but I've left him 7 messages and will you pick up the phone in front of that salesperson and make the call?
Because that's my job. I'm a sales manager. I guess we get confused. Sales manager. My pay is based on how many sales I manage.
So telling somebody to get on the phone is not the answer. If they're telling you that I know this guy is live, but I can't get him in the store
Your job
again.
as a sales manager, do as I do, not do as I say. Do as I do. Lead. I'm not going to ask people to do anything I wouldn't do myself.
Okay.
Right?
All right.
So give me 3 people we can do business with
Go
every
ahead.
day. Make your pay plans. Make your pay plans geared and reward the people to do the behaviors that you want from them. In other words, if you want 50% of all the business to be self-generated, then somehow tie in that behavior to the pay plan. I'm not going to give a guy 18 unit bonus when he doesn't have 1 repeat, 1 referral, and all he does is whore the floor and suck every up on the floor and just to get his 18 and runs over people, has a 13% closing ratio, and I'm going to give him a bonus and salesman of the month? Really? Let's reevaluate some of that stuff. So you have to become more of an appointment-driven culture where it's all about appointments. So go appointments, so go sales.
Okay.
So,
fair enough.
So your pay plan, make sure your salesman of the month isn't just units and gross, but make sure there's a column that says self-generated units, CSI. Make sure your pay plan and rewards are all based on rewarding and paying for the behaviors that are in the best interest of the dealership.
Okay.
So that's management.
Here's my final question of the day, right? And I wrote it down. How does a young manager apply these skills? 60 seconds.
All right.
How do you do that?
First is just have a sit down with the owner and tell them what you believe to be the things that you want to do. If you picked up some really good ideas and you'd like to implement them in the store, sit down with the owner because that's where it starts and that's where it ends. Because if the owner isn't behind you 100%, it's not going to last long because there's a good chance, because the second thing is you need the management team to all sit down with the owner and talk about management strategies, introduce the things we're talking about and put it on the table and have them argue against it if you're so for it. But what goes down as a team, it's if you're outnumbered by 3 other managers, no matter how hard you work, you're going to get bulldozed. I'm sorry about that. But and it starts at the top. If your owner and GM and you are all on the same page, then it's up to those 2 people to convince the rest of the team, this is what we're doing moving forward. Right. This is who we are.
Brendan, do we have anything out of the question inbox that is apropos to give one last question to Tom and then we can find our way out of this episode?
Yes, we do. From the previous episode that we did, we have a question. Tom, I saw the episode on phone skills. What can a young new salesman do to improve their phone skills?
That's a great question, but here's in my 50 years, 45 years of training, this works the best. If you want to get really good, really quick, if on a scale of 1 to 10, if you get to an 8, you can get to an 8 within 1 week. And an 8 is a person that has the skill level to sell 20 plus a month and never look back. First step is you got to get a study buddy. You can't just try to do this on yourself because you're going to be staring at the techniques. Right. You're going to think you're looking at the techniques and they're not going to work. So get your phone, put it on speaker, do the phone call live with the script right next to you. Have somebody else on their phone record the conversation, play it back over and over on each call, and together with a study buddy of 2 or 3 of you combined that are totally committed to be really kick on the phone. Within a week, you guys can master this if you really work together and go call by call. How can I do a better job next time?
And thank you for sending that question in. Again, Tom's contact information will make triple sure that we get that out. So if you have a follow-up to your question, please feel free to contact Tom directly or contact us and we'll get the information to Tom. Tom, I hate to do this to you. Kinda, because the good news is you've already agreed to come back a 3rd time, so we're going to hold you to that. First of all, thank you.
Okay.
And in this episode, right, we went over hiring, training, management, and accountability. The 4 pillars to a successful dealership as those things apply to a dealership sales department, right? So on behalf of everybody here at Car Guy Simple, thank you for spending the time. Thank you for 50 years, never lost the passion. I remember the first time that I heard you speak, I was like, I want to know. I got to admit, this guy's great. And you have kept that intensity and because you care and you love what you do, right?
I love this business. I love the fact that there's someone out there that really wants to make big money in the car business, maybe master sales, make $100-something, $200,000, $300,000, maybe become a manager, maybe become a dealer someday, but master the sales thing. And that way you can lead everybody moving forward.
And there it is. Thank you so much. We really appreciate your time. Thank you, Tom Stuker. We'll have you back again. Now it's your turn. Take what you got from this and go out there and get it done. And know that when you have more questions, hit us. We'll figure out how to get you to the finish line together. I'm Joe Levine. Thank you, Tom Stuker. Thank you on behalf of everybody here at Car Guy Simple, the podcast that we know you want to hear more for. We'll see you real soon. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and at carguysimple.com to learn more and see behind-the-scenes action. If you have a topic you want us to discuss, we'd love to hear from you. Feel free to send Joe an email at joe@carguysimple.com. This is the Car Guy Simple Podcast. See you next time.